all the way down to 14,000.
772. Contact the departure.
Open the departure. Have a great day. Blue 1179, contact SoCal approach 134.0. Then 03, descend and maintain flight level 240, reduce to 250 knots.
SoCal morning, November 74 Delta Hotel, check on board at 16,000.
0.05 today. 1524, are you up? Southwest 1931, LA Center under the Ontario altimeter 2974.
Which is 14 each side.
Desert Flight 124, stay parking.
Center 125.72, getting. Contact SoCal approach 134.0, getting. An American 1141, LA Center Roger, affirmative descend via the Disney for arrival, the Ontario altimeter 2974. (703) descend via the Angel 4 arrival at 250 knots, LA altimeter 2973. Sorry, I don't know what I said. Descend via the Angel 4 arrival 250 knots, LA altimeter 2973.
Approach, touchdown 1429 Delta at 7,000 minus 3.
For Delta Hotel.
Contact SoCal approach 124.05. 05 for United 703.
Connected to PilotEdge.
7 LA Center, roger the LA altimeter is 2973. You can expect moderate turbulence between 1900 and 14,000. Actually, it starts at flight level 25. It was last report by an Embraer.
Flying SoCal region 722, region 16 average, descending with a 003.
Zero.
3031 left, region 723.
November 433 Alpha Lima, LA Center, roger the Ontario altimeter 2974. 487, contact SoCal approach 124.05. 741, contact SoCal approach 134.0. 31, contact SoCal approach 134.0.
6 palm 2 staff. Roger, departure from Desert Regional Hospital will be at your own risk. Proceed on course. Hospital altimeter is 2974.
All right. Howdy do time. Mr. Nick, how are you this afternoon there, sir? So you're doing the same thing I'm doing, except you're doing it with the 7.3. Are you using the, is up your own bat sim? That's cool. Are you using the Zebo? I think that's the 737. I don't use the Boeings except for the one flight factor Boeing 763 767-300 freighter version. That's the only Boeing that I use. And I don't even like it that much. I just fly it every now and then because it was my first purchase and it's actually a very expensive plane. It's like 95 bucks. So I have to force myself to fly it every now and then. But for online flying, this Flight Factory Airbus, it's got the most sophisticated McDo I've come across. It's my all-time favorite airplane out of all the airplanes I fly. You're using the PMDG? I heard, is it PMDG that like everybody's mad at because they stopped making updates and they're transferring all of the new stuff for the new Microsoft Flight Sim 2020? Or am I thinking of a different developer? You had a half day today? Oh, nice, dude. That's awesome. All right. So let's do a little bit of flight planning here. So I need that much fuel, which is, this is in pounds. So 0 fuel weight. It's 129.9, so I'm gonna have to change that up to pounds to kilograms. I know SimBrief will change it. I just don't want to go through the problem of changing it. So it's easy to do a calculator to put it in the kilograms. So my 0 fuel weight is actually 58 tons. 58,921. 58,921 kilograms. That's the same thing as 129.9 for 0 fuel weight. And that's with the FS economy. So we got FS economy. I'll sign in. I got my flight. I've already loaded up the fuel. So like you're doing the 7.3, I'm doing the Airbus because I like doing that. The regular NGX is what you're using? Oh, okay. I've heard nothing but great things about that model of the 737. So if they build one for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, then I can see myself buying it then, once it comes out. So anyway, this flight's not going to give me much money, but it's a cool flight. I get to use both parts of the PilotEdge coverage area, which, as you know, it is all of this. So I get to use the ZLA coverage area and the Western Expansion Pack coverage area for this flight. So that's why I chose these two. With the ground fees, I'll probably make $1,400 profit for this one. PMDG 73NX NGX4 flight. Well, FSX is the latest one, right? So they're making Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. So unless I read it wrong, which is very possible, I think they're making it for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 as well. The sound kind of sucks though. The engine sounds don't really sound like the 7.3. Do they have a BBS package for that by any chance? So I have a BBS package for the Airbus. All right, so we got an altimeter of 2976. That's pretty low pressure. And they're current with Delta. Of course, I'll double check that. Looks like taking off in the 3-1s right now. Phoenix is landing on the 7s. That's what I want. I'm going to plan for 7 right. And there is storms and such. So the way I found this routing is through FlightAware, like most people do. So we got Palm Springs to Phoenix. Hit search, just pull up anything with an airplane that's a turbojet. And then here's the routing that I used, except I'm going a little bit higher. So anyway, that's how I found the routing for this one. I plugged it into SimBrief. And then we can pre-file on PilotEdge. So I'm going to ask for the Cathedral 1 to PS. Let me see. Let's see if that works. And 27, it seems. Is it 27 I wanted? Yep, 27. I'm going east. So that's odd. So 27. So we'll file that. So we're good there. And I should be. I'll give it a second to populate. So we have some weather to look out for going into Phoenix. You think there's a sound enhancement pack or something? Doesn't FlightAware have some route analyzer? Yeah, but I don't use it. I use, if I don't know the route, the first thing I use is the FlightAware, and then I see what SimBrief will generate. And then with PilotEdge, especially, a really good tool is PE Aware. So I could do, a city pair, right? So this is what is most important for PilotEdge, is because this is what prior flights have been approved. So if I really want to get, down so I know what's going on, we could do that number, find out. Oh, I'm departing, so that's let's do another Airbus A320. So he did the same thing, except he did an Arling 4 arrival. That's interesting. what's the, that might be old. It's not an RNAV. I'm going to stick with an RNAV. But anyway, that's another way that you could do it. And he went to 2.9. He must, that was interesting. Anyway, so that's how I do it. I use PE Aware, I use Flight Aware, and I use SimBrief, or I'm also, you know, knowledgeable enough to where I think I can pick the star that, you know, suits me the best. And then ultimately it's up to the controllers to, you know, authorize the flight. Like the last thing you want to do when you call in your clearance is say at the end, request clearance to Phoenix as filed. That is like one of my pet peeves because you can't tell the clearance and delivery controller what to do. So it's a negotiation. So when you request an IFR clearance, you're requesting it. They're going to look it over and they're going to let you know if you are cleared to fly as filed, or they could turn around and give you a full route clearance, which means you better have a paper and pen handy because they're going to totally jack up the entire flight plan that you had sent them through the plugin. So you never say as filed at the end of your request for clearance. Never say that. That's bad juju because you might not get what you filed. So you just say request clearance to Phoenix. If you're in a GA, you could say request IFR because GA can do VFR and IFR. And anyway, so I just request IFR and I don't end it with as filed. That's a VATSIM thing that a lot of people make mistakes and they end it with as filed and don't want to do that. PilotEdge will always correct you if you say as filed. They will tell you you cannot say that. VATSIM controllers don't usually correct you because so many people learn a bad habit of doing it that they would be correcting people thousands of times. But the proper way to do it is just to request a clearance, and that's all you need. All right, so let's get some ground people here. Jump inside. Get things loaded up. Turn on the batteries. External power is available. We do the IRS align. Wait for the on battery to show up, and then we go on to the next one. And there's a special way to use FS economy with this airplane, so I'll show you what the difference is, at least with the flight factor. I mean, the tallest 319 might be different, but I don't have that one, so I can only show you guys how to do FS economy with this in particular aircraft. Alright, so we'll do that. We'll bring on some lights for the cabin. Got everybody boarding. And bring up my trek on the south side of the terminal. So come over here. there's our gates, but it's actually easier to do it this other way. Alright, so we're gonna load the airplane, prep it for FS economy. And Nick says, I don't know squat about instrument flying because I'm not instrument rated. And I'm sure you could say that in real life and not get yelled at for it. Well, there is, like, if there was a book on black and white terminology and how to say things in an ATC environment, that's what PilotEdge is for. It's for teaching the proper way of doing things. So you're right to the extent that in real life, someone would probably not correct you. But PilotEdge will, because they're doing things by the book. This is, PilotEdge is made for people to train properly so they can take it into the real world. So if I were to say it on PilotEdge, I would be corrected. That way, when I would do things in the real life, I would be doing it properly. These controllers are extremely highly trained controllers, all of them. And they're paid controllers. I mean, I pay a subscription fee. So, you know, I do primarily IFR. I have VAT star ratings P1, P2, and P4. So I've done all the online training, and I've done training through PilotEdge, and I've looked at seminars, and I have, you know, over 1,000 hours of online time. I'm closing on 2,000 hours of sim time or online time, but I was supposed to do real-world flying today, but it was IFR conditions, and again, I'm not instrument rated, so I can't fly under instrument rules. That's correct. Yep. But in the sim, I fly IFR because that's just what I prefer, and with Airlines, it's pretty much a standard anyway to do IFR. So I'm pretty versed with IFR rules and how to read charts and all the lingo with the ATC because I've been doing it. I fly on PilotEdge every single day, every day, sometimes twice a day. So that's where my hours are gaining is I fly on this pseudo real world ATC environment using real world procedures and process. So that's why I feel pretty comfortable with the knowledge I take away from it because everybody does things pretty much by the book in this environment, just because it's a learning environment. All right, so I have my zero fuel weight is 58,921, and then the fuel is, I would say 4,000 to start. Then we have passengers. It's going to be 117. I'm just going to do 100 for right now. Set that. So these are just interim. These are not final numbers because as soon as I add the FS economy, I'm going to get a fault for the fuel. So I loaded 4,000 pounds. Now watch what happens when I load. Now I'm going to get a fault. See, I have a fuel fault. So now I have to go back into the fuel. And it shows 5860, so I need 5861. So we do 5861, and then we'll hit set. And that gets rid of all the fuel faults. 5861, and then you come back in and you reset your other weights. So it would be 117, and then 1,000 in cargo, and then you go to your perf data, and then you come to calculator, and I got 58 58,921. That's the zero fuel weight on SimBrief, 58,921. Minus this one, so minus 52,072. Plus 1,000, so 78.49. 58,921, so that matches SimBrief. So it'd be 58.9 and 28.7. So 28.7 and 58.9 are the numbers I need. And the starting fuel is 58.60. And 58.60 is 129,323. So that's 12,900. So that's plenty. All right, now that I got that knocked out, let me see what I missed here. In fact, VFR aircraft are prohibited in Class A airspace. Yeah, Class A is anything above flight level 180. So yeah, I know a lot of the stuff you're talking about, Mr. Nick, because I have to know all that for PilotEdge, because they do everything by the book. So if you were to fly on PilotEdge VFR, talking, you'll see as I'm talking to these controllers, if you were to ask for a VFR release with flight following and all that stuff, and if you take off VFR within a Bravo airspace, you have to have a transponder, just like you would in the real world, and they'll assign you a squawk while you're within the Bravo or even Charlie airspace for that matter. So everything that applies in the real world applies within the PilotEdge environment, just like it would. So everything that you have learned through the FAA regulations and your schooling for VFR, you would actually apply in PilotEdge, just like you would in the real world. I'm going to look up all the frequencies right off the charts, the real world charts, because you use all the real world frequencies. There's none of this top-down stuff like you do on VATSIM. So everything's done just like you would in the real world. It's really cool. Abugos, buddy, how you doing, man? You actually got to run? Thanks for the streaker. Appreciate you saying hi, though, bud. We'll catch you next time. Tomorrow I'm going to be streaming in the evening, probably. I'm going to be going out for lunch for some friends. So actually, no, I should be back, be a little bit later in the afternoon. So probably be an hour later than my normal kickoff time. All right, so FS Economy has started, so I need to go and make sure I'm showing en route, which it does. I would join, but I don't have a credit card. You can probably get one of those prepaid visas or even a Visa check card if you have a checking account. As long as it's got the Visa logo or any type of MasterCard or whatever would allow like a debit type situation, you don't have to have a credit card. You could go to any store, I would imagine, and get like a prepaid Visa to where you just put, $20 on it a month, and then PilotEdge would be able to do that. And PilotEdge also gives you a 2-week free trial, but I think you still need a credit card number to use the free trial. So let's get this APU going, but I highly recommend it, especially if you're looking on getting, certifications in the real world for moving up, outside of your VFR training into, IFR, multi-engine, CFI, all that type of stuff. PilotEdge is just a wealth of information. Squirrel! Hey, bud. It has been a while. Nice to see you, too. I've seen you on some other streams. I don't always say hi when I'm trolling other streams, but I've seen you around. You have a MasterCard debit card? Maybe once I go to college? Yeah, but the debit card, any type of, or I think the MasterCard would work. I'm pretty sure it would. Once you get to college, yeah, you definitely got to prioritize. If you don't have the funds, you know, bills and education definitely takes priority over fun. I mean, I do the PilotEdge for leisure. It's my therapy. I mean, I love this stuff, and it's just what I do. But it's a great learning tool for those that are, you know, needing to get experience with airspace and how things work. And they have training in PilotEdge. Just look at their website. There's training. And the other thing about PilotEdge is like it's kind of assumed that anyone that flies in this network would have a pretty good understanding of what they're doing. So this is not like you wouldn't jump on PilotEdge and have to listen to a bunch of people that have no idea what they're doing, because they won't really tolerate that on here. They'll tell you to look at their online training and then go through the training step by step, which slowly, you know, starts off easy and it gets harder as things move on. All right, let's close that window. Put seatbelts on. I've already filed. So let's figure out what our I ain't been too well, so not done much, just getting back to streaming. You mean you've been sick, Squirrel? Like you're not feeling, like you hadn't been feeling well? Because this is definitely the time of year for people to get the flu, and I live with hand sanitizer everywhere I go. Illness, yeah, sorry. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better. And Nick says he has I have tuition to take care of, with a potential $20,000 scholarship to Embry-Riddle. Oh, dude, that's awesome. Is that an aviation school? I mean, I've heard of Embry-Riddle, so I don't know if it's... Are you going to college for aviation? You're going to get like a degree in aviation? I guess the only thing that sucks is there's limited coverage. Well, you got to look at it the other way. It's actually not it's way more coverage than you need on a PilotEdge, right? So this is like half the entire country. And think about all the airspaces that are in here. These are all Bravos and Charlie airspaces. So anything that you learn here would apply to the rest of the country, right? Because they're all the same rules. So once you know how to fly in congested ZLA, you know, Los Angeles, crazy airspace, I mean, look at this crazy VFR airspace. So if you can learn to navigate this on a PilotEdge environment, if you can navigate this, you can navigate anywhere in the country. So it's not limited, because what you learn here applies to the entire country. So I don't find it limiting at all. And the other thing is you're guaranteed 15 hours of ATC coverage 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Pacific. So my time, I'm Central, so that's like 10 a.m. to like 2 in the morning, or 11, 12, 1 in the morning. So anytime I want to fly, I'm guaranteed from clearance and delivery all the way up to center and then back down. It's really the best. And I started off with the Western US because it's $20, right? So for 20 bucks, I could fly through all this area every day, anytime I wanted. And then for an extra $15, I added in the ZLA. So for $35 a month, I have 15 hours a day of ATC available to me, right? So it's really like the best. Like you look at Vatastic. So let's compare limited coverage. Let's go look at the live map, right? And then let's look at drones. So these are drones that are recorded VFR flights. So the ATC on PilotEdge will warn you about these airplanes that are flying around. These are drones that are literally flying that you can see. They have full lights, landing gear, they have all that stuff. And look how congested it is. So you're getting this entire area of ATC coverage 15 hours a day. Now let's look at VATSIM. Let's come over here. Oh look, there's nobody online. There's no VATSIM. So all these guys that are saying they're quote flying online and doing things, they're not talking to anybody, bro. They're not talking to anybody. There's an approach into Oakland. Whoopee. Oh wait, here's PilotEdge. They have ATC 15 hours a day. Oh look, there's no ATC at all. So it looks like we have to wait for a VATSIM event to have any type of ATC. So I'm not dissing VATSIM because it's free. They have the new voice code. It's awesome. The controllers are very good. But they're not online when I fly, which is during the day. These guys are flying with no radar services, and this guy is probably in class alpha airspace. So he is at an altitude of 38,000 feet. So he's violating the rules because he's not under any radar coverage. I mean, he's not violating VATSIM rules. I'm just saying he's flying in class alpha with no radar, whereas anybody flying in here would have radar. So, you know, VATSIM has events, and in the evening it lights up a lot more in the northeast. So in the evening I'll do VATSIM flights out here. But to me, there's just no comparison between the two networks. So yeah, I'd have to disagree with that one there, Mr. Nick. I think there's way more coverage. Embry-Riddle is 110% aviation. Oh, dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. If I could go back in time in my early 20s, that's exactly what I would do. I would go get an aviation degree. I would join the military and get a bunch of hours through the military. I'm prior military anyway, so I'm kind of, you know, leaning toward the military. But I was never a pilot, so I would go back in the military, probably the Navy or the Air Force. I was prior Air Force, but I probably would do the Navy just because I hadn't done that one. And then I would become a pilot. I wouldn't even care if I was a fighter pilot or a C-5 cargo pilot. But all those hours in the military, you can place toward the civilian sector. And in the military, you start off as an officer. So you take your degree at Embry-Riddle, go into the military, put 6 years of military service behind you, move up the ranks, and then automatically you're going to be hired up anywhere you want to go, and you have a long line of jobs ahead of you. You're going to get a BA. That's awesome, dude. Mr. Dub Nasty, that's awesome. Good afternoon. How you doing there, bud? Nice to see you. Welcome to our small group, but fun group of aviation enthusiasts. Squirrel says he's going to be right back. Still in chat. Just need to make a call. All right, bud. Take your time. We'll be here. I appreciate the conversations. But that's very good, Nick. You're making very wise choices. You're making the choices I would make if I could go back in time and remake a different career. All right. So we are at Palm Springs. We're at gate 6. So we need a GPS of 5 or 4, 6. So that's our GPS position right here. So we're going to do PSP to, where am I going? PHX. We're at United 1399. 3349.3. $16.34, so that one's right. 3349.3. I'll line on rep. And I'm not going to enter in my cruise altitude until after I get my clearance. And I'm going to get ATIS now. And you'll see PilotEdge broadcasts ATIS, so 124.65. And again, that would be we use real world. These are all real world. 124.65. Real world frequencies, like just like you would find on this chart here. So you can go to this chart, and all these frequencies are the ones I'm going to use, Mr. Nick. All real world frequencies are used on PilotEdge, so you just look them up. You look them up and you go with it, and it just works. So 124.65. I have a SATEC panel, so can do that. Bang it over. Crank up the sound.
Contact clearance delivery. Advise on course heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read back all runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact that you have information Delta.
Alright, we're with Delta.
Palm Springs International Airport, ATIS information Delta.
Get the winds too.
Zulu. Wind calm.
Wind calm.
10. Sky condition clear. Temperature 26. Dew point -5. Altimeter 2976. Arriving and departing runways 31 left, 31 right.
Right.
Visual approaches in use. VFR departures contact.
Put on
delivery.
guard on channel
Advise
2.
On course heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read back all runway assignment and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact that you have information Delta.
Alright. And clearance is 128.35. So that's 128.35. So I'll put it in. So now we're on clearance and delivery.
John Wayne. Number 208 Golf
And
Golf,
there's the PilotEdge controller.
Airport. After departure, fly heading 240.
So Nick says, I plan on being a corporate pilot after college. Yeah, you know what? That's the way I would want to go.
And expect 3,000
by watching a lot of these streamers, it just seems like corporate is a lot better for, you know, family life. You know, you're home in most evenings and stuff like that. So that would probably be the way I would want to go. You need, what, 500 hours for corporate? I know the airlines require 1,500. I'm not sure about corporate. That seems low, but you probably know more about that than I do because I don't really research what I would need. But for jobs, because I can't pass a medical. Because I'm disabled and I would never pass a medical. But I think for regionals you need 1,500 hours, and then they pay. Regionals have such a shortage of pilots, from what I've been reading, that they pay for your training, you know, once you're hired. So any specific training that you need for regionals, they pay for your travel, the per diem, they give you all that stuff. military isn't a good fit for you. Yeah, it's not for everybody. Especially now, like if your goal is to be a pilot, corporate or otherwise, there's such a shortage that it's. Hang on, I can't.
Right, heading 170. Maintain 3000.
Let me just mute him. Actually, I don't want to mute it because. So there's such a shortage in pilots that you'll have no problem getting a job. I think wherein before the military, you know, it helps with getting a job. So, but in your case, there's such a shortage that you don't really need the military, and you can get a restricted ATP and fly for the airlines at it. Oh, okay. See, you already know way more about the job market than I do, because it's just not something that applies for me in these days. But yeah, you don't need the military. I'm just saying, like, if for those that might be listening in, military is great because you get all your hours that you need. You get free training. You get to fly, millions and millions of dollars worth of aircraft, and all this. You get to travel the world. I mean, I can't say enough good stuff about the military, but it is what it is. It's not for everybody. My stepkids have no interest in the military, but their dad and me were both prior military, and it's just something that I have a background in. But if I could go back, I would be a military pilot for sure. All right, so I got the altimeter 400 or that's 4,000. But no, it's 440. So Palm Springs has an altitude of 476, so that matches. So let's get our clearance. Afternoon, Palm Springs clearance, United 1399 at the terminal with Delta, IFR Phoenix.
United 1389, Palm Springs clearance, clear to Phoenix Airport, Cathedral 1 departure, and then as filed. Maintain 900,000, departure frequency 126.7, squawk 6440.
Clear to Phoenix via Cathedral 1, departure then as filed. Maintain 900,000, departure 126.7, squawk 6440, United 1399.
And 1399, read back correct. Number 37 Quebec, contact Jarwin Tower 126.8.
Alright, so I got the clearance, and I filed flight level 270. So I'm going to plug in 270 there.
For 6137 Quebec, Jarwin Tower, runway 20, right, clear to land.
Clear to land 20 right, 37 Quebec.
Number 6 Whiskey Foxtrot, contact
you can only fly as a first officer with 1,000. Oh, I see. But then as you gain the hours, then you could then transfer.
Delta 84 is with you about 4 hours.
So if you go to Part 141 school like Riddle. Oh, okay. Well, that's awesome, though. It's good that you have a plan, because a lot of young people these days don't really have a plan. They go to school, and I hear it all the time. They're like, I don't even know what I want to major in. So that's pretty remarkable that you have a plan and you're going through all the steps to do that. All right, so real world ground is 121.9er.
Santa Barbara departure, radar contact, maintain VFR.
So it's the same controller, but we're using the real world frequencies. And it's not uncommon in the real world to listen to the same controller handling a couple frequencies. Tower's 19.7, so it doesn't show up on the standby because I use a SATEC panel, but when I pop it over, then there's tower. I'll put it back to ground. So I'm going to do the flight plan now. So we'll do departing 31 right, Cathedral 1. And input, and then I'm going to add a waypoint. Actually, I don't think I need a waypoint. I think the Hydro 1, yeah, I don't need to add a waypoint. So we'll do that, And then we'll look for the Hydro 1, so I'm going to do ILS 7 right.
Delta 84, cross runway 26 right at Alpha 7. And you know which ramp you're parking at?
And
whatever
from
one you would
the
like, it'd be fine.
Hydro
Delta 84, roger, taxi
1
via Alpha 7, Bravo,
via,
Bravo 5,
I think it's
and
Alice.
Charlie, cross runway 26 right.
Alpha 7, Bravo 5, Bravo, Charlie, cross
Actually,
26
it's
right.
not a via, so no via. And then we're going to do
Make sure you
from,
include your call sign with the readbacks required, please.
see how they
Delta
correct
84.
you on PilotEdge? That they would not correct you for something so minor on VATSIM for that. But even the most minor things, PilotEdge will correct you, so that way you take that real world knowledge with you to the real world and you do everything the way it should be done. So it's just little stuff like that that they would not correct you.
Or 1 Alpha Sierra, exit left, 1 able taxi via Alpha to the ramp, remain this frequency.
All right,
Left
so
Alpha to the ramp, this frequency, number 1 Alpha Sierra.
all right, so we're down there. We're going to do winds. Put in our wake. 58.9 and 28.7. 5.8 on fuel. Plenty of fuel. We'll go to perf. Make this 500 AGL, so we're going to do 980. It's for climb thrust at 500 AGL, and then we're going to do 200 initial climb out. I do that just because, I don't know, it's habit at this point. And then decision altitude for 7 right is 300 radar altitude. And then same thing, so 1640 for go around phase. Then you can become a captain. I have loved aviation since I was a little boy, 7 years old to be exact. Yes, I did hear even real world controllers won't do that. Yeah, yep, and I agree. They would not do that. I would say it's way more laxed in the real world, and obviously VATSIM, than it is on here. But they do it for a purpose. They do everything by the book, so that way you know how to do things correctly. And the whole reason for the terminology in ATC is to keep as much information as you can have within the shortest transmission. So, like on VATSIM, you hear people say "with you at flight level 320." Well, on PilotEdge, they're going to get on you. They're going to say there is no "with you" at 320. There is, you sign in with your call sign and altitude, and that is it. So it'd be United 1399, flight level 320, boom, no more. You don't say "with you," you don't say "I'm hanging out with you," you don't say. So PilotEdge is a learning environment to where they want you to do the phraseology by the book. And I like it. I like it like that. There's not a whole lot of leeway. You'll get corrected a whole lot, but you'll learn a proper way of doing things. All right, so let me check this SID. So we're gonna take off, and then rewrite that PSP to a MUND, back to PSP to Blythe. All right, so that's correct. I'm good on that. Need to figure out perf. Yeah, when I stream real world controllers, I'll hear background noises like people talking. And Strongarm says, except we will because your call sign is 100% a required element when reading back any runway clearance, and we like to keep our jobs. You're mistaking a controller obtaining a required readback for nitpicking a pilot's phraseology, and that's not what's happened. Wait a minute, I'm confused. Well, I did say United, so if you're going to check in at flight level 320, you would say United 1399, flight level 320, and that's all that you would say. Then the controller would say, you know, Roger or whatever, you know, they would know. You're mistaken in controller obtaining a required readback for nitpicking a pilot's phraseology, and that's not what's happened. See, the only thing I'm saying, strong arm, is, or maybe you're not talking to me, maybe I'm correct. So I'm just saying on PilotEdge, they're nitpicky because they're doing everything by black and white, by the book. In real world, you know, you could say with you. They do it all the time on VATSIM. But on PilotEdge, they don't want you to say with you because it's not part of the phraseology that the controllers want you to do. They just want the information and nothing more. At least that's how I understand it. You know, I'm not a real world pilot. This is my life. You know, I love flying on PilotEdge. I do it every day, and I've been doing it for a couple years now. And I made a ton of mistakes. I used to say with you. I used to say all these things, and the stuff I'm telling you guys is because I used to say these things on PilotEdge, and they corrected me. So what I'm passing on to you is only the stuff that's been passed on to me from these controllers that I would say are highly trained controllers. So strong arm, I believe you're probably a real world controller. So if I'm saying anything wrong, please let me know, because I would like to make that correction. And if something that PilotEdge does is not true with the real world controlling, let me know that, and I will post in the PilotEdge forums a question on regards to the phraseology that maybe if I'm doing it, if they're doing it wrong, then I want to know if PilotEdge is doing it wrong, because PilotEdge is a learning environment for real-world pilots. VATSIM is more of a social gathering. All right, so let's get our performance. I take it you're a PE controller, strong arm. You could cause an issue, like can't say your altitude, and you should state whether you're climbing or descending. Well, you don't say if you're climbing. Like if you're climbing, if I check in with a departure, I would say 14,000 or leaving 14,000 for flight level 230 or whatever. So you do check in, but you say the altitude leaving and the altitude you're going to. So that would say, you know, you're climbing or descending. Alright, so let's grab our phraseology, geez. Alright, so Palm Springs, we're gonna do 3-1 left. So 3-1 left is TODA, which is takeoff distance available, so 10,000 feet. Get the weather, cross-check it with my weather injector, which is mine showing 74, although that might change. So I'll go, my weather's like 10 minutes behind. Like my weather is showing 0, so I'll put it at 2, and my takeoff weight, which is
number 208 Golf Golf, contact departure.
This number 64738.
208 Golf Golf.
64783. I mean 64783. So that is 142,822, and then 10,000 feet for 310.
November 208 Golf Golf, so got departure, radar contact, climb and maintain 3,000.
And then that. And then there's our V speeds. 65. And And 149. So yeah, I try to make my streams somewhat educational, and
dealer's choice.
if I'm doing something wrong, I definitely want to be corrected.
November 960
That's
Romeo,
why
Roger B.
I do
Kilo,
this.
Sierra,
I literally
Bravo,
learn
Delta.
something new just about every day when I'm flying on these networks. All right, so
Kilo, Sierra, Bravo, Delta for 60 Romeo.
here, go to perf.
Cessna 88 Golf, turn right heading 330, when able, advise you have
So 149
Bravo's
across
turn
the
at John Lee
board.
now and say approach request.
And it was 65 on the flex temp. Then we'll check that right before we take off, make sure the winds are still roughly the same. Turn on some fuel pumps here. And we are cleared to 9,000. Tell all these guys to drive away. Oh, the fuel truck's still there. There. All right, so with this, the hydraulics are low on the brake. So we'll pop out this hydro. Come up here, we'll turn on the yellow pump to 3,000 PSI. We'll turn it back off. And that corrects the hydro issue. Now everything's back in the green. So to brief this flight, so we're going to take off 3-1 left. We're going to do the Cathedral 1, which is basically, I mean, they're all obstacle departures. But we're going to do a heading of 310 until we cross this radial, which is 268. Palm Springs radial 268. Once we cross over that, we'll start a right turn toward Palm Springs for the 104 radial outbound to Amund, Emerald or whatever. And then it's a right turn back to Palm Springs. And then when you get to Palm Springs, as long as you're at your MEA for direction of flight, then you continue on to, like, we're going up to the Blythe VOR to pick up the Hydro 1 arrival. So the Hydro 1 is, go to number 2 here. Oops. So here's Blythe.
November 41.
So then we'll check these altitude.
SoCal approach, the March altimeter.
These altitudes and speeds. So when the line is above and below, that means you got to cross at that altitude and speed right on the money. If the line is below, that means you got to be above flight level 240. If the line is above, that means you got to be below. We're not using this transition, but so that means we have to be below 230 at 280, and that's below 220. This is in between 15 and 19, and then we'll do the runway transition, which is, this is for landing east, this is for landing west. So when I call in to the approach, I'll let them know which transition I'm on, or assigned rather, and then you'll see these are all altitude and speed restrictions all the way down to what will probably be the ILS 7 right approach into Phoenix, which picks up at full, see at Beltway or Belty or whatever, 4,000. So you'll see the Hydro 2 4,000 at Beltway. So it goes right into the ILS, so it's basically a full approach. Just keep going right into Phoenix. So then we'll land here and we'll park right here. And we have all of this to have fun with when we get there. So Looking forward to that. Shut down some of these windows. And what I miss? Strong Arm says you would be correct on PE. Some controllers will give more advice than you would normally receive on trivial things. Usually they are trying to be helpful because they think you need it. But you guys are talking about the controller going overboard, asking the guy to verify his call sign on a clearance involving a runway when the pilot didn't verify his call sign on the readback. Yeah, so I see what you're like. It's nitpicky, and you're right. Some controllers are more nitpicky than others on this network. But you know that's what they get paid to do. They're paid to be nitpicky. As a matter of fact, I don't know if it was this controller. I don't remember which one, but he had told someone something that could be considered nitpicky, and he said to the guy, who was very nice, he said, "I don't want you to think I'm getting on to you," but he said he literally got in trouble for not saying whatever it was. It was something minor, but he got told, make sure you correct these people. So PilotEdge is extremely picky because it's black and white. In the real world, there's that you can get away with some things, but on here they want things done black and white. And like you said, Strong Arm, some controllers are a little bit more nitpicky than others, but I appreciate it because I enjoy being corrected. I want to do things the right way, especially for my streams, which is required unless you're at a tower, then the controller is contacted. 55-year-old retiree, you're getting asked to verify it. And yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that makes sense. Strong Arm, thanks. All right, let me clean up that chat so I know what they're going. All right. So let's get rid of that. Close up all the doors.
Cessna 8 Golf Golf, landing 020.
Check the emergency gen. Pop a few alarms here. And we'll do a reset on the clear button. You have to press and hold it for, not yet, now, for about 1 second. And then we'll check FADIC next. Just make sure that the engine displays are working. They turn on automatically when you turn on the ignition. Lower the lights in the cabin. Do pre-plan on the push.
1213 Tango. We're at Standard Aero, and we'd like flight following to San Diego, heading 127, 5,500. And yeah, flight following, please.
Plan acknowledged.
So I'm curious if that is
172 slant golf.
an active taxi. No, I don't think that's Bravo. So this is all non-movement. I don't think I'm going to be pushing onto. The only time you need to ask for permission to push is if you're pushing onto a taxiway. So I don't think that's an active taxiway.
Maintain VFR below 3,012 miles.
So I'll go ahead and
squawk 6766.
get that started.
Ground to cockpit.
On departure, we'll fly heading 255.
And then we'll grab our fuel. This is 5.6.
5.2 for departure frequency, and we'll squawk 676.
Update our fuel.
1213 Tango.
I'll update the times, so we're still good on fuel, and leave it there, because that will give me a number to use for trim purposes, because I have a document that I use.
Number 4139 Quebec, contact approach 126.7.
I use that for trim.
That's 8 Golf Golf, turn right heading 100.
test our engine alarms,
all doors
fire
and
alarms.
hatches are closed, ready to connect.
November 41300 Quebec, SoCal approach. Roger, Palm Springs, altimeter 2972.
Mm, 6440. Normally on the ground you would not be doing TR, TXRA or whatever this stuff's called, because I guess it would make it a nightmare for controllers in the real world to have everybody showing altitude on the ground. But in the sim, I just set it up early so
November 1213 Tango, Los Angeles
I don't
ground
forget.
125 left taxi via Alpha Foxtrot.
Alright, so to beacon light on, starter push,
Starting pushback, and you may start it.
November 208 Golf.
go to ignition 2.
5 miles from Lemon.
I like to monitor hydraulics, engine on top.
3000 until established on a localizer. Third ILS, runway 20 right approach.
Let's get ATIS.
Temperature 27, dew point -3, altimeter 2972, arriving and departing runways 13 left, 13 right, visual approaches in use. The FR departures contact clearance delivery, advise on course heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read back all runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise initial contact, you have information echo.
Alright, so we got echo. And the winds have changed, I think.
This is information echo. 1953 Zulu. Wind 090 at 7. Visibility 10. Sky condition, clear. Temperature 27. Dew point -3. Altimeter 2972. Arriving and departing runways 13 left, 13 right.
Santa Monica Tower, Latitude 6502, 10 miles to the west with information Tango, inbound full stop landing.
November 68502 Santa Monica Tower and a right downwind runway 21.
And a right downwind for runway 21, 502.
Nick says, you think you might lose an engine? 1,900 pounds of fuel left in my left tank.
Command 300 Quebec, roger.
Did you, did SimBrief not do a good job for you there, bud? Did you use SimBrief, or were you just guessing what the fuel would be? I would definitely not trust that FS Economy fuel calculator. Alright, we have 2 good engines. We got generators available on 1, so
Remember 13 Tango, roger.
flaps 1, that would give me a 1+F takeoff config, which is 1 notch of slats, 1 notch of flaps. And we'll do crew supply. Might need our wipers because Phoenix is under a lot of rain right now. 03, all that checks out.
So is disconnected and bypass
Trim.
has been removed. Hand signal will be on the left. We'll see you next time. Have a safe flight.
I need to update the weather. So the temperature, let me bring in the weather there. So 107, so that all matches.
Number 8 Golf Golf, contact John Tower 126.8.
147. Certainly need to change the top one. 147. Alright. So we come to 28.0, so 0. So perf 1 up,
on the ILS 20
0.0.
November 208 Golf Golf, John Tower runway 20 right, clear to land.
And it's
20 right, clear to land.
I just updated that. 147 and 65.
Say request.
65 is still the same, so that's all good. Trim is set. Check our controls. Do cabin check. Good there. Do taxi lights.
286 Whiskey Foxtrot, verify your squawking.
Turn off the APU. Terrain. Already squawking Charlie. I already got ATIS. Updated takeoff. Cargo heat. Make sure that's working. All right. And ground is 0.9er, towers 19.7. And I'm current with Echo.
San Luis Tower, Centurion 23 Hotel Bravo, holding show at runway 29er.
Did I do 31 right? Yeah, I meant 31 left.
Number 23 Hotel Bravo, San Luis Tower, runway 29er, cleared for takeoff. Cleared for takeoff.
It doesn't matter. It's the same thing. It's just different side. Palm Springs ground, United 1399, south side of the terminal, current with Echo, rated taxi.
Number 286 Whiskey Foxtrot, Bakersfield approach, I-9. United 1399, Palm Springs ground, runway 13 right, taxi via Whiskey Lima.
I'm going to have to stand by a minute. I have the other way programmed in. United 1399. One 3 right.
Monica Tower, Pilatus 68502, request confirmation, please land.
13 right.
Number 68502, runway 21, clear to land.
That's going to mess up.
Clear to land, 21502.
November 6 Whiskey Foxtrot, radar contact
take off
37
data.
miles southwest of Bakersfield, maintain VFR, altimeter's 2969er, advising you have uniform in the field site.
So take off data for...
39er Quebec, contact Palm Springs Tower, 119.7.
I don't remember the runway changing.
Palm Springs Tower, good afternoon. Baron 413,
sure
Quebec, 10 miles to the
right.
south, inbound for landing with Echo.
13 right.
413 Quebec, Palm Springs Tower, enter left downwind, runway 13 right.
Left downwind, 13 right, 29 Quebec.
And Cathedral 1 for 13 right. 13 right. So that's 10,000 at 130.
John White Clarence, that's Skyhawk 960 Romeo, just filed for Coastal 13, request IFR to San Bernardino.
November 960 Romeo, John White Clarence, cleared to San Bernardino Airport.
Takeoff weight is
240.
probably changed a little bit now.
Beach, and then as filed, maintain 2,000.
So,
6478,
no, it's still the same.
Frequency 128.1, squawk 6330.
So the meter's 27.
Okay, cleared to San Bernardino on departure flight, runway heading
71,
correction flight heading
240,
and direct Seal Beach, and it's filed.
10,000
up to
130,
5,000 after 5, 128.1, and
149,
330,
66.
Number 60 Romeo, read back correct. November 502, taxi via Bravo to the ramp, remain this frequency.
To the ramp with you via Bravo, 502.
66.
Los Angeles Tower, Cessna 1213 Tango, holding short 25 left.
And
1213 Tango, Los Angeles.
49.
This was the North Tower, you need to go on 120.95.
And then 150.
120.95, 1213 Tango.
Wow, that totally changed on me. 13 right. And then I need to, what am I gonna fly? How do I fly this? So let me get rid of that. we're going to do a heading 100 until we pass over that radial, and then 040, 310, crossover, and then, oh, duh, 100 to cross over the radial, then left turn 040 to intercept 104.
Runway 25 left.
November 1213 Tango, Los Angeles Tower.
Okay,
runway 25
so we'll
left,
take off, make a left turn after this radial,
left, clear for takeoff. 1213 Tango.
intercept 104 the MRUD, and then make a right turn. So it's going to be basically 100 left turn after that radial. Alright, I know I'm missing some of the chat there, so. Echo. Palm Springs ground, United 1399, South High Terminal, current with Echo. I am now ready to taxi.
Yeah, 1399 Palm Springs ground, runway 13 right, taxi via Whiskey Lima.
13 right via Whiskey Lima, United 1399. Alright.
Cessna 8 Golf Golf, taxi via Hotel and Alpha to the ramp, cross runway 20 left, remain on this frequency.
Whiskey Lima.
Sky 20 Golf Golf, cross runway 20 left at Hotel, taxi to the ramp via Alpha, remain this frequency. Sky 20 Golf Golf.
Well, this was anything but easy, huh? Makes it more entertaining though. So it'll be a left turn to heading 100 until we intercept that radial, and then a left turn for I'm just going to put that SID on my laptop to 040 to intercept. So the autopilot should do it on its own.
November 13 Tango, contact departure.
Couldn't you couldn't use SimBrief? SimBrief is just for airlines? No, it ain't. No, I use SimBrief for all my GA stuff. There's TBMs in there. There's what I use is like King Air a lot for piston, and then whatever the fuel calculations are for like the C90 or whatever, or B90 or anyway, I do half. So if SimBrief calls for like 800 pounds, then I know I would need at least 400 pounds if it's you know, just a regular piston. But I use SimBrief for all my GA stuff. It's always been right on the money, but it has a bunch of turboprop type calculations already in SimBrief. So I just use whatever turboprop there is, and actually I think there may even be like a Cessna 172 in there. But there should be just about any type of airplane you want. But yeah, I use, actually there's King Airs in there. My King Air 350, I use SimBrief for the King Air. So yeah, SimBrief is oh, here comes someone landing. So that's a real person at their computer like we are.
November 286 Whiskey Foxtrot.
The CSLs for PilotEdge is just really good. Oh, that's a Baron.
Runway 30 right, 286 Whiskey Foxtrot.
It's a Baron. Just landed. That's cool. It's nice to have some traffic.
Baron 39er Quebec, safe parking.
Going to signature, 39 Quebec.
Baron Quebec, roger, taxi via Whiskey 1 and Whiskey to the ramp, remain this frequency.
Whiskey 1 and Whiskey to the ramp with you, 39 Quebec, thanks for your help.
How do you do it? Oh, as soon as I get in the air, bud, I'll bring up the SimBrief and I'll show you.
Class Bravo airspace, remain clear.
I'll have some downtime once I get up in the air. What do you do for the call sign? Now I'm down to 3,600 pounds of fuel. That's not I mean, how many more miles do you have left to go? Because 3,000 pounds of fuel is not going to get you too far. But yeah, I'll show you how I use FS Economy for my
Riverside Tower,
GA stuff.
921 Victor November, 6 miles to the north of March at 5,000.
I edit a lot of the airplanes too. I look up, you know, the real world max takeoff weight and landing takeoff weights and zero fuel weights, and I look up, you know, the model. So the flight factor Airbus A320, I look up all the stuff for that, and I enter it into my custom airplane on SimBrief. Alright.
Riverside Tower, Vision 91 Victor November, 6 miles north of March, 5,500 inbound with Victor.
November 921 Victor November, Riverside Tower, and a right base, runway 27.
Right base, 271 Victor November.
November 1213 Tango, SoCal approach, LA altimeter 2972, maintain VFR.
Alright. Takeoff config test right here. It's normal. Do systems are normal. Landing lights, strobes. Let the crew know we're going to take off.
Number 1 Victor November, runway 27, clear to land.
Clear to land, runway 271 Victor November.
Auto brakes, signs, spoilers are armed. Think. Yes. Takeoff config test.
November 960 Romeo, John Wayne ground, runway 20 left
we'll
at
do
Kilo,
tax.
taxi via Alpha Kilo.
You're going to go to tower, which I think is still,
left,
yeah.
Kilo via Alpha Kilo for 60 Romeo.
Departure 126.7. So 126.7 is on standby. Takeoff data is still good.
Ready to copy IFR 2 Phoenix with Zulu. We're at Bravo 22.
Good there. So then the first heading will be heading 100. Do I turn to 100 at a certain altitude? No, pretty much right after takeoff I want to go to heading 100. And it's probably
Phoenix, Cowboy 8,
track 102, so it's already going to do that already, so that's, I think it has the radial. 176, so yeah, it's already got the radial.
Bakersfield Tower, 26 Whiskey Foxtrot, want to verify, confirm that we are expecting 30 right.
November 286 Whiskey Foxtrot, affirmative, wind is 160 at 8, runway 30 right, clear to land.
Clear to land, runway 30 right, 26 Whiskey Foxtrot.
Palm Springs Tower, United 1399, holding short, 13 right.
Yeah, 1309 Palm Springs Tower, runway 13 right, clear for takeoff.
13 right, clear for takeoff, United 1399. That's cool, look at the wind farm. I knew they were over there.
Vision Jet 1
There's
Victor,
a bunch over there.
Left when able,
Never noticed those before. Clear left. Let's turn these packs off.
Approaching 13 right.
Look at this squiggly line.
On runway 13 right.
Engine's 50%. Engines are stable. Takeoff power is set. Airspeed's alive. do multiple things here at once on takeoff. That's not real smart. Positive rate, gear coming up.
United 1399, contact departure.
Over to departure, United 1399, see ya.
Too low, terrain.
SoCal? SoCal departure, United 1399, Cathedral 1, 2,400 for 9,000.
United 1399, SoCal departure, radar contact, climb and maintain 13,000.
Climb maintain 13,000, United 1399. Alright, so.
Delta 84, the ramp area there, it's a non-moving area, so on PilotEdge we don't control the ramp areas at all. You'll only need to ever call us if you have to push onto active taxiway.
So this is actually, I need to go back to PSP. So it's going to turn me right before
November
PSP.
13 Tango, contact SoCal approach 128.1.
128.1,
I'll do the spoilers.
United 1399, turn right heading 080, radar vector Blythe.
Right turn 080, radar vectors for Blythe, United 1399.
November 960.
Alright, so he took me off of the departure, which is totally cool. So we're going to increase our speed to 250. I'm going to take out the rest of the flaps. Gear is verified up.
23 Hotel Bravo, standard
Packs
tower,
are back
left
on.
base, correction left downwind, runway 30.
Spoilers are unarmed. There's no icing to worry about.
United 1399, clear direct Blythe.
Clear direct Blythe, United 1399. So we'll come down here, we'll do direct Blythe. Direct to insert.
113 Tango, 3,500.
November 1213 Tango, SoCal approach, John Wayne, altimeter 2970.
Now we're straight to Blythe.
2970, 1213
Which
Tango.
would be BLH to Hydro, and then the next one would be Skull. Let me just make sure. Skull. Check the altitudes here, and after a little bit. Check our cabin pressure on the climb. And looks like a Los Angeles Center will be my next
460 Romeo, contact departure.
frequency at some point.
November 6 Whiskey Foxtrot, taxi via Alpha to the ramp, remain this frequency. United 1399, contact LA Center 124.62.
LA Center 124.62, United 1399. 2462. Los Angeles Center, United 1399, 1100 for 13,000.
Number 960 Romeo, SoCal departure, radar contact, climb and maintain 5,000, turn right heading 330. United 1399, LA Center, climb and maintain flight level 270.
Climb maintain flight level 270, United 1399. 257. 270. 12,000. Lights coming off.
Cessna 60 Romeo,
Seatbelts to auto.
join Victor 8.
And lower these sounds a tad. So the only thing left to do is click over to standard, which I'll do here in a moment. You're doing the ILS now? You're at 27 miles? Oh yeah, you have plenty of fuel for 27 miles. I'm glad you made it. That was probably pretty scary. Let me know, Nick, when you're done, after you landed, and I'll pull up my sim brief and show you how I do all my GA flights. So I'm probably going to get Albuquerque Center next. If I had to take a guess, and it's just a guess because you never really know what centers or approaches are going to use on a day-to-day basis, but I'm going to guess 128.45. What's cool, they say decimal in like the UK and overseas flying on VATSIM, but in the States it's like point, or they say 28 dot, or maybe they say dot. Now I don't remember what they say. Alright, so we're going to do down and up arrow, standard 29.902, which is mean sea level. Anything above flight level 180, you want everybody has to be on the same drawing board. The only reason they have pressure settings for under 180 is for obstacles. In the United States, it's easy because it's always 180. Overseas, they assign your transition altitude. But I don't do a whole lot of VATSIM flying on overseas just because I'm so used to the U.S. airspace that the overseas stuff confuses the heck out of me. We are finally on our way. About a 7-minute cruise.
Hotel Bravo, runway 30, clear to land.
So I'm set for 7 right. So I need a different transition in case we land 25 left.
November THB Hotel Bravo.
So we go to second flight plan. We're going to do copy active. I'm going to change the arrival to 25 left. And that's only going to change the runway transition. So now this
Delta 84 Las Vegas ground. Roger, do you have a runway preference, 19 or 26? Delta 84, runway 19 on our left, taxi vehicle off Delta.
Phoenix.
Delta
Arrival
84, runway 19 on our left, taxi vehicle off Delta. I promise you, I'm not trying to give you a hard time here, but the runway number as well as with your call sign is going to be required. I have to get that read back, and if I don't, I have to ask you.
I think I'm looking at the wrong one. Is it Hydro or Blythe? It's Hydro. Alright, delete that one. Hydro 1. So that's Blythe. So the transition mainly takes place here. So Aguila. So AGGLA. So now setting it up for 25 left as a second flight plan will take me along the bottom route to Cabo and then Limo or whatever. Only thing I'm going to change on that is the speed to 180 to help the Airbus slow down. And same thing with I'm actually going to use, it's 3 different IASs and initial approach fixes for the ILS. which we want Balti. So second flight plan, perf. So it says second here, so that's takeoff. So the arrival decision height for 25. I'm going to look it up on my laptop here. ILS 25 left. Decision altitude, radar altitude is 200. And that's all still accurate. So then this other way, like I said, at Gila, so we're right now planning for 7 right, which is WinCom operations. Gila and then Punt at 2:30 between 10 and 12, so that's correct. All the way to Beltway. Teach, Falgo, Kagor at above 5,000. 210, then it has a decel already there, but that's probably, yeah, it's going to slow me anyway. So I'm actually okay. And we're coming up to some weather, so I'm going to turn on the weather radar. Boost that up. We'll see if we get any rain. Sometimes we do. Alright, so at the top of climb. You made it down safely. Good deal, bud. Alright. So we gotta copy that. So let's go to second perf.
November 60 Romeo.
Phoenix is 2977. Temperature is 21.
Yeah, no sir. So right now your last
instruction
you received in regards to altitude was to climb and maintain 5,000. So until you get some type of a clearance to do otherwise, you'll just need to maintain 5,000. What you're looking at there is the MEA.
We're gonna update the wind data.
So, I would, no, in your case, you just need to maintain 5,000 until told otherwise. If you want a different altitude for any reason, you need to obtain a clearance first. Yep, United 1399 cross Skull at maintain flight level 250.
Cross Skull at and maintain flight level 250, United 1399. Alright, where I think Skull's probably already set for 250, but
we're 23 Hotel Bravo, Santa Maria
yeah,
taxi via
it's
Alpha
set for
to
250. So I'll descend at my top of descent.
Number 60 Romeo, contact approach 135.4.
Things are happening a little bit faster than I thought. I thought I'd have a longer cruise, but I got like a 5-minute cruise. It flew too high, I guess. Alright, so fuel, I know I have plenty of fuel. I'm estimated 3.5 tons by arrival. So
November 960 Romeo, SoCal approach, Roger,
or lower the air conditioning.
Advise you have information, Tango, expect visual approach, runway 6.
See, Skull is already shown as a 250. We're going to do 7 or 8. Do that. Actually, need it brighter. Scroll's already set for hard altitude of 250, so I didn't have to make any.
84 Las Vegas Tower, wind
I didn't have to make any changes to that. And I haven't forgotten about you, but I'm going to pull up that sim brief as soon as I get a second to do it. Just want to I'm gonna check D-ATIS and cheat. I'll get it for real too, but make sure that Phoenix is still landing wind calm, but there's like thunderstorms and stuff around it, so no, they're landing west, so I'm going to activate the second flight plan, and then we'll make another flight plan for the other way. So second, activate second, and we're going to go direct to Skull. So take off data, direct to Skull.
Contact Albuquerque Center 128.45. Have a good one.
Albuquerque 128.45, United 1399. Thanks, you too. Alright, now we're over to that. And I'm going to sign in with Albuquerque, but I'm going to do it right as I'm starting my descent, which is 250, so that's right. Albuquerque Center, United 1399, leaving flight level 270 for 250.
Okay, 1399 Albuquerque Center, good afternoon. Descend via the Hydro 1 arrival, runway 25 left, transition Phoenix, altimeter 2976.
Descend via the Hydro 1 arrival, 25 left, transition 2976, United 1399. Alright, so we need to descend further down than 250 at this point. And we're doing the for 25 left transition, so we don't need that one. That's not right. Hang on. I need to go 25 left. B7000. Left. There. That's still not right. Why is it doing that? It keeps going back to... I guess I need to leave that up. Is there two different runways? Oh, man. Anywho, that's right now. I'll reduce that a little bit. Turn on our altitude restraints. It's 280 at 250. So I'm going to do a second. Oh, we're not going to change directions because he already gave me my... but I'll still do a second flight plan again just to have it there. And I need the second. I'll just leave it. Whatever. The crew now, we got descending. I don't know what Phoenix approach is, so maybe it's on the star somewhere. Phoenix approach 124.1, so let's see if we use that. It's on the chart, 124.1. And I need to get the ATIS, so that would be 127.57. Pop that over.
Runway 7 right on left runway 8 approach in use. Simultaneous approaches to parallel runways in use. VFR departures, contact clearance delivery, advise on course heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read back all runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact you have information Kilo.
Current with Kilo, I need the winds.
Sky Harbor International Airport. ATIS information Kilo. 2051 Zulu. Wind 090 at 6. Visibility 8. Light thunderstorm and rain. Few clouds at 6,500. Ceiling 8,000 broken. 10,000 broken. 15,000 overcast. Temperature 19er. Dew point 9er. Altimeter 29er76. Arriving runway 7 right. 8. Departing runway 7 left. 8. Visual approaches in use. ILS runway 7 right at ILS way 8 approach in use. Simultaneous approaches to parallel runways in use. VFR departures, contact clearance delivery, advise on course heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read back all runway assignment and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact you have information Kilo. Phoenix Sky.
All right. Now the runway's shifted on ATIS. What is the wind doing there? So Phoenix is landing. The FAR required reserves. Oh, I see, Nick. So I need to be above 240 at Splink. And then Sonera below 220. So actually I can go down to, yeah, 7,000 for Limo, which should be on here. Yeah, and I reduced it to 180. And I wonder why you wanted me to do the 2-5 left transition, but let me do the other. So I'll do 7 right. But my friend, I will show you that Sunbrief thing here, I promise you. This is just, I thought I'd have more time in the air, but I don't. And he's changing the arrival from wind calm, but with the thunderstorms, maybe he's anticipating Hyder. Where is Hyder on the chart? Alright, that's the okay. So it'll be fine at Hyder, and then it should go up to Punt, Tech, Tesla, yeah. And then 7 right. So I am set for 7 right with decision of seven right if he changes it on me. Again, that would be 300. And that's all fine currently. 200 for 25 left, 29.76, 19, 230 at 6 knots. Alright, I'm good. Except I need to check 25 left. I need 25 left ILS frequency 110.75 under RadNav 110.75 258, so that matches. That's what I love about this airplane. It will meet all these restrictions like right on the money. I don't ever have to worry about it. I do all the research with ATC stuff and just let the plane do its thing. It does a really good job at it, so I just need to monitor it. Made $5,000 on that flight? Yeah, he made a lot more than I'm going to. This one's going to give me about $1,400, I think. So it's raining pretty good in the Phoenix. Lots of clouds. And minimums for this is 200, so I should be okay. I just hope if the winds change, then I can always ask for a different runway, you know.
At 1399, contact Phoenix approach 128.65.
Phoenix approach 128.65, United 1399. 128.65.
It's an overcast. Temperature 18. Dew point 11.
2865.
Altimeter 2977. Arriving runway 7 right. 8. Departing runway 7 left. 8. Visual approaches in use. ILS runway 7 right at ILS runway 8 approach in use. Simultaneous approaches to parallel runways in use. VFR departures, contact, clearance, delivery, advise on course heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read back all runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information, Lima.
I'm just going to ask him what he wants me to do.
Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport. 8 to...
Phoenix approach, United 1399, descending via the Hydro 1 arrival, 25 left transition, leaving flight level 180, current with Lima.
Phoenix approach, expect ILS runway 25 left approach.
Plan for ILS 25 left, United 1399. Alright, tailwind's not too bad, it's only like 6 knots. So anything over 10 I would request the other way. Or probably, yeah, over 10. 27, here comes the rain. It's not icing though. Enough to fly to your first intended destination, then enough for 30 minutes at cruise thereafter. Yeah, for gas calculations, I was always taught that you want at least 45 minutes of extra fuel. I mean, I don't know how realistic that is, but certainly by no formal training on the fuel calculations, but that's pretty much what I mean, I just use SimBrief and I try to make sure I have at least 45 minutes extra, you know, and then you have to worry about an alternate airfield if you need to. Palm Springs to Phoenix is only like 200 something miles. It's most of my flying, 230 miles. Most of my flying on any of these networks is going to be under 300 nautical miles for an airliner. And my turboprops, I like to stick around 130 to 150 miles for the turboprops, and GA 80 miles or less. So those are how I look for my flights, because I do my flights for time at my desk, which is usually around 2 hours, because I have a bad back and I can't sit here much longer than that. So I do all my flights depending on mileage and the aircraft that I'm flying. This one is one of the more longer flights, I guess you could say. I've done longer flights, but I pay for it. Plan for a 25 left. So we got PHX25 lift, 35 miles away. Max landing weight 65 tons. We're at 62.6. Seatbelts on. And the weather radar doesn't really do much unless it's raining super heavy. If it's heavy rain, it will pick it up, but otherwise it doesn't really do anything, and that's with 2 notches of gain. That's what's required for night flying? Oh, okay. I didn't know that. You definitely have more training than I do when it comes to fuel calculations. I'm just amazed by the sim brief and how accurate it is for at least my airliners. I mean, it's spot on every time. Update the wind one last time. 230 at 6. 29.77 and 21 Celsius. You have about 100 real-world hours. Oh, that's good. I have 4 real-world hours. I go up twice a year. Once I save $50 a month because it's very expensive to fly. I'd rather spend my money on my sim because this is what I do every day. And I can't get a medical anyway, like I've said, so I put $50 away every month, and that gives me 2 flights a year. And I have an instructor that I use. He's a very nice guy. He's retired military fighter jet. He flew the actually, I don't remember what he flew, but I know he was a Navy fighter pilot. F-11? I don't remember. Anyway, his name is Mark. He's a very, very nice guy, and he shows me, you know, stuff when we go up, and I take off. I handle all the stuff. I just haven't landed yet in the real airplane, but I'm sure he'll let me soon enough. I've gone up 4 times with Mark, so I'm skipping the fall flight. I'm going to wait until next spring to go up again because I need to buy a car. I'm going to be buying a car during the Black Friday month, or Black Friday holiday here. So my airplane money is going to go toward like whatever this new car needs. Alright, 25 left. raining pretty good. Oh, I fly a 172. I'll show you. See if I can find it. Well, that's, oh, maybe pictures. Yeah, there it is. So this is me and my 172. That's the plane that I fly. That was taken a little while ago. Oh, might want to start adding in some flaps here. And we're going to go down to 200. Actually 190. Turn on the landing lights.
Delta 84 direct some Trojan. You are at 1399, contact approach 120.4.
120.4, United 1399. 204. Phoenix approach, United 1399, 7000.
You are at 1399, Phoenix approach, descend and maintain 4000.
Descend and maintain 4000, United 1399. Alright, so the weather radar ain't doing squat, is it? Let's see if I can gain it some more. Help me descend with the gear down. Create more drag, will descend faster. Winds are still 29.7721. Must have been an overspeed with the gear. That's what happened. It was just overspeed. It's all good. 29, 21. It's now 18. That's why you got to check this. 120 at 5.
You are at 1399, turn left heading 340.
Left turn heading 340, United 1399. Yeah, on these last vectors here, you want to start to turn before you answer. At the other times of flight, you can answer first, but when you're being vectored for an approach, they want you to turn immediately and then talk to them. So it's always, I can never get it right, but it's aviate, navigate, communicate. I know the communicate's the last one. I'm going to turn off this radar because it's doing nothing. We'll turn on terrain radar instead. I'm going to do auto brake on low because spoilers are armed. Coming up to the glide slope.
1399 for left heading 285, descend and maintain 3000.
Left turn heading 285, descend, maintain 3000, United 1399.
Delta 84 cross duty at and maintain flight level 240.
I'm assuming he wants me to capture the glide slope. I mean, localizer rather.
United 1399, 3 miles from Scald, maintain 3000 until established on the localizer. Clear ILS runway 25 left approach.
Maintain 3000 until established on a localizer. Cleared ILS 25 left approach, United 1399. Alright, I'm just going to arm approach, and 25 left is has a missed climbing left turn to 5000 on a heading of 130. 5000 and tower is 120.9. So 5000 set for missed. Cabin check is good. Slow down. Flaps are full, all on the green. Landing gear, signs, spoilers, flaps. The minimums are 300? 200. 200 minimums. Bring up my airport on my laptop. So I'm probably going to exit. This is a 7,800 foot runway, so I'm probably going to exit at I'm just going to roll down to the end. We'll exit at Golf 2.
1,000.
Yeah, I'm going to roll down to the end, so with that in mind, I can set it down, hopefully not too hard. Lights are on, 3 green.
Merit 1399, contact tower.
Approaching 2
over to
5
tower.
left.
Phoenix Tower, United 1399. Station localizer 25 left.
United 1399, Phoenix Tower, runway 25 left, clear to land. Wind 110 at 5.
25 left, clear to land, United 1399.
400.
So, like I said, we got a little bit of a tailwind, but it's only like 5 knots, so.
100 above, 300.
Autopilot off, my plane.
Minimum 200. 100. 50, 40, 30, 20, retard 10, 5.
Reversers.
5,000 feet remaining.
Delta 84, descend via the Brazil on arrival, runway 7 left, transition.
$2,000 remaining.
Delta 84 Fenrir.
Exit off here at Golf 2. Hold short of 25 right. It's like he's probably gonna tell me to cross at Echo 4. So we gotta stop in between.
9 cross runway 25 right at Foxtrot 4, contact ground.
Cross 25 right at Foxtrot 4 and over to ground United 1399. Ground is 132.55.
Approaching 07 left.
Phoenix ground, United 1399 off the runway looking for Terminal 2.
United 1399 Phoenix ground, taxi to your gate via Delta 2 Delta. Have a good day.
Parking via Delta 2 Delta, United 1399. Thanks, you too. Alright. Delta 2 Delta, so we're going to go straight ahead here. We can turn off our strobes and landing lights. Pitot window heat off. Don't need the brake fan. Turn it on anyway. So what kind of plane was that? That's a 172, just a standard trainer for pretty much most aviators. That do you train? Because I know like the low wing. I can't think of the, what is it, Warrior, Piper Warrior? A lot of people train with the Piper Warriors. You've flown one of those before? Yeah, I like the 172 because I live in Florida and the sun, I mean, it's just so hot here. So with the 172, it has the wing above you, so it acts like a shade. So when the sun's up here, it's not blistering inside the cockpit because the wing acts like a shade. So, and it's about the same speed as a Warrior, even though the Warrior looks cooler to me. But the Cessna, more practically, is better for me because it acts as shade. And Nad's dog 04, how you doing there, bud? Nice to see you. Welcome to our little group of misfits. See if I can find a parking place over here. So this is the Nimbus Phoenix. I wonder if I'm going to scrape wingtips with this guy, probably. Luckily it doesn't. I don't think it has collision, that would suck. APU is on, so we'll shut down our engines here. Turn off our taxi lights. Do that. Open up that door. Turn off the lighting. turn off the terrain and the wheel brake. Turn off the APU. Come up here, turn off the fuel pumps. Turn off our GPS. And before I do anything else, get credit for the flight. That's going to mess up the gate. It always messes up the gate. That's okay. Reset the passengers. Reset the cargo. Close up the doors. And this should shut down here in a moment.
Delta 84, contact Phoenix approach 128.65.
And then we can disconnect from PilotEdge. Shut off the batteries. Hello from Phoenix. Oh, that's awesome. I just landed in your hometown. I hope I did it some service there for you. So I'm going to do a rerun of the landing, and then I'll show you the SimBrief thing real quick. So you always have to make sure you signed offline. Otherwise, even though it's a replay, it will literally, on PilotEdge, it will show you in the air just appearing at 2,000 feet in the air. So they don't like it when that happens. It's the same, pretty much the same rule, even on VATSIM. I figured Phoenix would be hotter than it is. It's not hot there. I guess it would be in the summertime. Be like a dry heat. Oh, that figures. Let's do that instead. And then one last time of the passenger view. Now the gate should come back. Yep. Reset my sounds. All right. Okay, Mr. Nick. So what we got here is SimBrief. So I have, my fleet, right? So these are all customized airplanes. So the one I just did, the Airbus, so I could click edit, and then you put in all your weights, everything that comes with the airplane. So that way it will do all the fuel calculations, and you can do pounds or whatever. But just for there's already a bunch of airplanes in here. I mean, granted, most of the top ones are airliners, but you come down here to these are corporate jets and stuff. DC-6, Embraers, 140s, they're all airliners too. And then the Falcon 5, MD-11. So most of these are big planes, but here's a TBM. So what I do is I use just the King Air, which is right here. See, B350. So I use that for all my GA flights. So to go from Los Angeles to, I don't know, PSP, in a King Air, it literally, oh, I have to click off of it. I was like, why is it not finding anything? So I'll just leave all that the way it is, and then it will come up with the fuel. And because I know the King Air is a turboprop for any propellers like Cessnas, or I have a Cessna 310 that I fly. So this, I just pretty much calculate what I need. So it would be like 416 continuous and reserves. You know, these three, I would add those up and divide it in, or multiply it by half. So whatever half of this is what I would use for my fuel planning, because a turboprop uses basically double than what a single prop does. That's how I do it. But you can go into your fleet. You just pick any one of these stock planes that come with it and then alter it. So these are all my custom airplanes. I've got the Airbus, I've got the Boeing 73, I've got a Beech 1900, Challenger 300, King Air 350, I got the Eclipse. So, but whenever I do prop stuff, I always select the King Air, which is just, it's already here. Click on the B350, do all of your stuff, get the calculations, and cut it in half. And whatever the half is the fuel that you want to load. That seems to have worked for me all the time. Plus, you can always figure out your calculations by flying. So if you know how much fuel your plane uses for time in the air, then you can calculate it that way as well. But I don't do that. I've always used this method. So just pick the King Air for any of your small planes, pistons, cut the fuel in half, and you'll be fine. Like, still fill out your altitudes and your passengers and your weights the best you can. Like, I have custom King Air for up here. So, like, here's BE20. So I just adjust the passengers, the empty load, the max zero fuel weight. So you just make the changes as you need to. But that's how I do it. Very nice landing. Thanks, bud. You're having cool thunderstorms for the next 2 days or so. Temperatures are in the mid 60s. Yeah, that's really awesome. That's what surprised me about the temperature there. Was you figured you guys would be scolding in this summertime. What does the temperature get there? I mean, like I said, I live in Florida and I'm used to temperatures in the 90s with like 100% humidity. It's just a different type of heat in Florida. But you're out there and more in a desert, so I know it gets in the desert. It's like hot as hell during the day and very cold at night. So you could probably go outside, like you probably go out to dinner, and it's always going to be like 60, 70 degrees at dinner time, isn't it? That's just a guess. I'm just asking. And that little Epis Economy flight gave me 1,665 bucks. Cool. Well, I appreciate it, guys. Don't forget to hit the follow and subscribe button. You can subscribe for free if you're an Amazon Prime member. And 122 in the summer. And that would make sense that the evenings would be nice, yeah. Unlike here where it's still 88 degrees at dinner time when the sun's going down, it doesn't actually cool off till like midnight. So I would rather have cooler temperatures in the evenings. I don't care if it's hot during the day, I'm used to that, but 122 is kind of crazy hot too. But yeah, but just click the follow button, that way you'll know when I go live. I go live every day around 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tomorrow's going to be a little bit later because I got a lunch appointment with some friends, and then I'll be home, do some flying. Don't know what I'm going to fly tomorrow, but we'll figure it out. Cool. Thanks for the follow, Mr. Nick, Mr. Blyman. Y'all take care. I appreciate the chat. That was very entertaining. And good luck with your schooling, Nick. I want to hear more about it. Live life vicariously through you. Y'all take care. Chase out.
Hotel, we would like to request the RNF 7 right. 39 Hotel, Roger. Lane 12 Echo Echo, Phoenix approach, Roger. November 8540 Charlie, keep your code and contact Scottsdale Tower 119.9er.
All right, keeping the code 119.9, 40 Charlie. Thanks for your help today.
Good day. Over 89er Hotel, expect vectors to join at Banyo. Fly present heading, descend and maintain 8,000. Okay, present heading down to 8,000. We'll expect Banyo 889 Hotel.